What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be adding a high definition backup camera to my 2015 Ford F350 XL. Now, if you haven't checked out my last video, I recently just upgraded my head unit to a touchscreen head unit with wireless Apple CarPlay that has the capability of adding cameras. So the camera that we picked up today is from a company called Auto-Vox, and the camera that we got is their Cam7 Pro, which is a high quality, high definition backup camera that you can add to your head unit. So without further ado, let's jump in and let's get it started. If you come up here and look at the front, you can see that I recently just added a touchscreen head unit right here. This is a Kenwood head unit with wireless Apple CarPlay. And on the back of that head unit, there are cables and wires that I could hook up additional cameras for the rear or for the front. But today, we're gonna be hooking up a rear camera. And if we come back here, I assume that the rear camera can mount a couple different places. You can mount it anywhere on your tailgate. You can mount it anywhere down here. You might be able to mount it up here on your handle, and then I'll have to run the wire all the way up to the front cab underneath the dash to where I can get everything tied in. So here is the Auto-Vox Cam7 Pro high definition backup camera. So if we go ahead and open this up, you'll see you have some warranty information, your owner's manual right here that tells you how to hook it up and how to use it. If we take this top cover off here, this is basically the camera right here, which is actually pretty small. So what I was saying before is if I drilled a hole right here, I might be able to actually just mount the camera right there, which might look pretty nice and give you a good field of view. Plus it would look straight down better at your trailer hitch. So we'll have to figure out which is the best place to mount this here shortly. Here is your cable that will plug into this wire here and then gets wired into the back of your head unit. Here's some additional mounting hardware there, and that seems to be about it for the box. Now, depending on your vehicle, you may or may not need a further extension. So I actually purchased a 10-foot extension cable here that works with these types of harnesses like that, okay? So I purchased a 10-foot extension cable just in case. So for now, let me first think of where I want to mount this camera. But let me look a little further into that and I'll come back with an update. Okay, so I went ahead and I took my back panel off. It comes off real simple with several bolts. Just to look down here, and as you can see right here is where I could drill a hole for mounting that camera. And then the wire can run down below here and then pop out right here at this hole. And then I'll basically run it down under the truck and run it up to the cab. Okay, so I went ahead and I measured out where my hole is gonna be and I drilled a hole just so that my post of my camera can go through. So what's gonna happen is I'll have to fish through this wire cable here all the way through, and I'll use a lock washer and a nut. And I'll probably put a little blue Loctite on there as well. Okay, so I went ahead and I got my camera mounted and I got my lock washer and my nut put on with a little blue Loctite, so that's tight there. Then I took the wire down below underneath this bracket over to here. Right there, there's a hole opening that I ran the wire through, and that hole opening to the right went all the way straight down to that hole opening. So all I did was I took a large zip tie, fed it up down through the bottom, and got the zip tie to poke out that hole up here. I then used some electrical tape, taped my wire to the zip tie, and then pulled my wire down through, popped it out here. There was a hole already right here because I guess there's a couple holes by factory right there. So there was one right there. So I came out the bottom of the tailgate and tucked it right through there. So now the wire is underneath the bed. Then I had an extra piece of wire loom laying around that I just put right here just to protect the wire. So pretty much now we're good to go. All I have to do now is put my tailgate strip back on, bolt it back down. Now we can work on running the wire underneath the bed, just getting it zip tied along the way. And then we're gonna pop up through one of the grommets under the cab, pull the wire through, and then we can start getting this wire to the dash. Okay, so I went ahead and we got everything hooked up for now. Again, here's what the camera looks like on the outside here. And as I showed you, I ran the wire down through the tailgate under the truck. And then when you come down here, I'll show you how I actually wired it in. Now again, I don't have this all cleaned up yet and wire loomed out of the way, but basically what I did was I went off the back where my trailer pin receiver is located. Then I just followed that up here to this wire loom here. I cut the wire loom open and opened up all the wires. I went online and found out that the gray wire with the brown stripe was my reverse wire back here. So I just pretty much took the red wire off this harness and tapped that into the gray wire with brown stripe, which was my reverse wire coming off my hitch receiver here. Then I found out the big white wire in here was my ground. So I just took my black wire here and tapped into the ground wire of this harness, which was white on my truck. You'll definitely want to make sure you check out what color your wires are on your vehicle. But on my truck, which is a 2015 Ford F350 Power Stroke diesel, this is the XL model. My reverse light was gray with a brown stripe and the white wire was the ground. So I got that all wired up and everything seems to work so far. So now all I have to do is finish taping everything up, add some wire loom to it all, and we'll be good to go. And then I just have it pretty much zip tied along the cab up to about here. And then there was a rubber grommet under the truck, which, let me see if I can get on here and show you. Right there. So there's a rubber grommet right here. I just poked a hole through it and came up underneath the cab. Now I still have to finish zip tying a few things out of the way and add a little wire loom, but that's the grommet I poked in at right there. And that grommet came up like right underneath this floor over here. So I basically took my side kick plate panel here, I popped it off, I pulled the wire up right from under here, ran it underneath my floor here, up under behind the dash, and have it plugged into the rear camera RCA plug on the back of the head unit. So the cable coming off of the camera had an RCA jack. I plugged into the rear camera jack of the head unit. And then off of that cable, there was a little red wire that I tied over to the reverse wire coming off the back of the head unit there. So if we start up the truck, let that start up. Okay, so now as you can see here, I'm in park, nothing on the screen. So as soon as I put it in reverse, it comes up, it pops up no signal for some reason, but there you go. So now I have a backup camera that works in my truck, which by factory was not set up for a reverse camera. And I can always go in here into my settings and go into input and then go into rear camera and then go in here and adjust like rear camera interruption, parking guidelines on or off, guidelines set up, reverse with AT&T. So if I turn the parking guidelines off, exit out of there, and then put my reverse back on, I won't have any reverse guidelines at all, which I actually like how that looks without any guidelines anyway, so it looks pretty good. But it does have a pretty fast response time. So as soon as I put it in reverse, it pops up. So again, as you can see here, and then to get this little warning symbol out of here, I'll have to go through some of the settings to see if I can get that to come off. You just touch it and it goes away. But there is my reverse camera, so it does work. So as of now, my initial impressions of the Auto-Vox HD reverse camera, I'm going to go ahead and give it a thumbs up and give it a go. It's not that hard to install, but again, you will have to have some type of head unit here that's capable of hooking up a rear camera. But as long as you have that, the installation is really not that hard. Okay, everybody, so we're all done. So we went ahead and we hooked up the Auto-Vox Cam7 Pro to my 2015 Ford F350. Now I also have a Kenwood DMX 8709S head unit, which was very easy to hook up to because it was camera ready. So as long as you have a head unit that's capable of hooking up external cameras, you'll be good to go. Installation was really not that hard. It was pretty simple and easy. You just have to find where your reverse light and power light and ground light is on the back of your vehicle to get power to the camera. But other than that, the rest is pretty much just tedious work. It's not that hard. But everything works and I'm pretty happy with it. So at the end of the day, my overall impressions of the Auto-Vox Cam7 Pro reverse camera, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a thumbs up and give it a go. It's a basic reverse camera. The image quality looks pretty good and it works perfectly fine. So if you happen to have an upgraded head unit in your vehicle, but you don't have a reverse camera yet, I definitely recommend checking this one out because it's a pretty good quality and it comes in at a pretty decent value. But that's gonna be it for today's video. I hope this video helps some of you out. Go ahead and do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button and like this video. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments section and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And also do me a favor, subscribe to the channel because it helps me out a lot and I greatly appreciate it. So that's it. I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you. I truly appreciate you all. And as always, see you in the next video.